I did my work this week. Woo! And baby, I just got paid. Gonna go buy me a fresh pair of Gators with some of this money that I made. Man, waiters on the radio singing about the whiskey. I think I'll go by the stove to get me a bottle so I can be ready to get my groove on the dance floor. Baby, baby, it's Friday. It's Friday, baby. And I'm gonna party, and get my groove on. Get my groove on. It's Friday, baby. Oh, and I'm gonna party to the break of dawn.
Thank you for listening to my daddy's podcast. Please subscribe to our channel.
Hey, don't let these tears fool you. It's all dog around this mug. I'm good.
Hey, what's going on, Who Dat Nation? It is yours truly, Timothy J. Jones. And yes, I am the host of the State of the Saints podcast. Thank you so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast, where we talk New Orleans Saints. Shouts out to you. Much love to you on this Friday. It's the first of the month. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Get them checks and come up. Get up, get up, get up. It's the first of the month. It is November 1st of 2024. If you're watching this live, hope everybody had a good Halloween. Hope everybody enjoyed themselves. For those that have young children or a young child like me, hope you took them trick-or-treating. I had a really good time with my son Paxton and my wife Ashley. We went around the neighborhood, took Paxton trick-or-treating, and Paxton is at an age right now, he's 5 years old, where he can actually absorb and remember some of the things that had taken place. I mean, we've taken him trick-or-treating in the past, but this year was just a little bit something special. He was just looking forward to doing it. He actually went on his very first field trip on yesterday, or Halloween as well. So I'm real proud of my young boy growing up, man. And it's amazing to see. But you know what is not amazing to see has been the New Orleans Saints over the last 6 weeks. Y'all like that segue, right? They have not been they have not been watchable. It's been absolutely terrible, horrible to say the least. We're going to be getting into that. We're going to be talking on this episode about Derek Carr. Derek Carr has been out for a few weeks dealing with oblique injury, but he has practice and everything is optimistic. It looks as if Derek Carr is going to return to the lineup just in time to take on one of the worst teams in football. So we're going to be getting into that. But I also want to acknowledge Saints Nation 504. Saints Nation 504, man. I get to the radio station today and I got this cool shirt from them right here. DA has got to go. And I want to give a special shout out to Saints Nation 504 for sending me that t-shirt. I mean, it really means a lot to me. You know, people that support the show, watch the show, and you know, man, just share and like and talk and send information like emails to me about how much they appreciate the show and the love that they show. So wouldn't be no show if it wasn't for fine folks like you and the Who Dat Nation that make this show what it is, because Lord knows at moments like this and at times like this, I need to lean on the Who Dat Nation to be able to do these shows consistently, because man, And I mean, when you have to talk about a team that you love very, very much and you've watched your entire life just fumble all over themselves and it's their own doing and they just refuse to get out of their own way, is very, very frustrating. You find yourself doing things and willing to do things that you normally wouldn't be doing in moments like this, because you don't really want to talk about it. But let's go ahead and get into it, man. Let's go ahead and get into it. Talk a little bit about Derek Carr. I mentioned Derek Carr coming back from oblique injury. He's been out of the lineup. We all know what the offense has looked like with Jake Hayner and Spencer Rattler at quarterback. Both guys kind of got into, a situation where it was a lose-lose situation for both, regardless who you're cheering for. I just think that it's a complete waste of time for people to sit around here and be evaluating guys that basically were playing a quarterback position with both hands tied behind their backs over the last couple of weeks. So to say that this guy doesn't have this or that guy doesn't have that or this guy has this more than that, like, please. I mean, the Saints have been an absolute train wreck. They, like I said, it's their own doing, not putting emphasis on the cap, whiffing on draft picks. I mean, we heard the story, man, over and over again. We know why the Saints are in this position. They're going to try to pretend that it's injuries, but we all know the truth. But Derek Carr is, focused on returning to the lineup against the Carolina Panthers. And, he did practice Wednesday as well as Thursday, and I anticipate him practicing on today. But he talked a little bit about being back in the lineup. This is what he said.
It felt really good, to be back out there with my teammates, because watching, especially when it's tough, it sucks. You want to be out there with your guys. So it felt really nice to be back out there playing football again.
So he's excited about being back in the lineup, being a part of the team. And, Derek Carr, he is a seasoned veteran. He's been around the block a few times. He's been a starting quarterback for years. And, regardless of what you may think about him, he gives the Saints the best chance to win at this stage, because of his experience. I mean, we can talk about him. We can say all these things about him, saying that he leaves a lot to be desired and, him not really winning that much throughout his career. But he is the best quarterback on this team. And, he is a guy that, probably if the Saints had him at quarterback, maybe they wouldn't be on this 6-game losing streak, or it would have been a little bit more interesting. I would give him. And this has been the one that has been making its rounds. Everybody's kind of talked a little bit about, this statement by Derek Carr. Someone asked him, one of the members of the media asking him about, this 6-game losing streak that the Saints are in right now, and Derek Carr coming back, and maybe some Saints fans, I don't know who they are, but looking at him as the savior of the Saints for the 2024. And this is what Derek Carr responded.
I am no savior. There's only been one of those. And, that is not me. I am here to be a great leader and to be a great teammate and to do my job to the best of my ability. And do I feel confident in what I can do? Absolutely. I feel confident in what I can do. I feel confident in what I can bring to our team. And that's exciting, right? But to save us or anything like that, that's not me. I'm going to come in and do what my guys expect me to do. Bring energy, bring effort. Like I said, be a great teammate. Encourage our guys, get everybody on the same page, lock in the details, hold each other accountable. We got 9 weeks that are promised to us, right? And or 10 weeks, whatever week this is, right? And there's just a full commitment just from myself to our guys. When I get back, I'm going to be a psychopath. I'm going to be crazy about the details and everything, because we only get one shot at this, and so, I don't have any promises. I don't have anything except I'll promise great effort. I'll promise, long nights and early mornings, to make sure that we're at.
So Derek Carr just said that he's going to do the little things in order for him to do his part to maybe help the New Orleans Saints, win some football games. But He's not trying to put, all of the pressure on him, which I can understand. I can understand why he feels that way. I mean, your team is on a 6-game losing streak. I mean, you're coming back and, you just want to be able to control what you can control. When you start to focus in on, trying to be the savior, doing a little bit too much, that's when you start really, truly making mistakes. But look, man, the Saints have no one to blame but themselves for this situation that they're in. And I'm going to continue to say that because the New Orleans Saints, to me, spend most of their time trying to accommodate Derek Carr. Yes, I just said this. The reason why the Saints are in this situation right now because they spent most of their time trying to accommodate Derek Carr, and they basically did themselves harm in the process. Now, let me elaborate on what I mean by the Saints accommodating Derek Carr. When the offseason first started, Who Dat Nation, who was on the roster? You had Derek Carr as your starting quarterback, Jake Haener, and Nathan Peterman. Those were your 3 quarterbacks right there. Those were your 3 guys. And I think they had like the guy from Texas A&M that was there for a cup of coffee. But none of those guys were able to compete with Derek Carr. None of them. So it made Derek Carr's situation way more comfortable. The Saints were accommodating him. Why am I saying this? Because I'm going to continue to say it. The New Orleans Saints did not like the situation from last year. They did not like it when Jameis Winston was backing up Derek Carr because Jameis Winston, unlike Spencer Rattler, unlike Jake Haener, he had the capability of pushing Derek Carr and creating a quarterback controversy. That is one of the main reasons why I feel that the New Orleans Saints, who knew that Derek Carr had ailments last year, who had certain things going on, but they didn't push like they did this year for him to sit down and wait. Because if Jameis Winston would have came in and played like he's playing right now in Cleveland, if he would have won some football games, then guess what? Then you have yourself a quarterback controversy. Like Jameis Winston or not, he would have pushed Derek Carr. And if Jameis would have won football games, or the offense would have looked as explosive, or the team would have looked better offensively, how can the New Orleans Saints justify Derek Carr being thrust back to the lineup if the Saints offense was looking better? They didn't want that. But this is what the Saints knew. The Saints knew what we didn't know. A lot of people wanted Spencer Rattler. They lobbied for Spencer Rattler to be the quarterback. Everybody was saying, man, Spencer Rattler is the future. Spencer Rattler is the future. The New Orleans Saints knew that Spencer Rattler had a lot of growing to do. So they knew that Spencer Rattler wasn't as good as Derek Carr. So they gladly obliged. They were okay with Spencer Rattler being thrust into the lineup because they knew that he was not going to be able to challenge Derek Carr or make people believe that he was better or ready to be a starting quarterback. If you don't believe me, somebody please explain to me, why is it that Derek Carr comes back and now Jake Haener is the backup quarterback and Spencer Rattler goes back to being the emergency third quarterback? Now, some people would say, well, it's because Jake Haener kind of has the same similar skill set than Derek Carr. Regardless to that, if Spencer Rattler was coming into the game, right, when Derek Carr goes down, then by the pecking order, Spencer Rattler should have been a backup quarterback. Now, since Derek Carr comes back, he's not. That just doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't at all. This was one of those situations to accommodate Derek Carr, making sure that, nobody can, be able to kick against him being a starting quarterback. And even this situation right now, him coming back against the Carolina Panthers. The Saints are on a 6-game losing streak. They go out there, they go to Charlotte, He comes back into the lineup. They look formidable. They win the football game. Now all of a sudden, hooray, Derek Carr, the savior of the New Orleans Saints. No. This whole thing has been set up, in my opinion, for us to actually buy into this whole Derek Carr thing. It just to me, that is the way that I feel. Because it just doesn't make sense. Because here's the thing. If you look at Spencer Rattler and if you look at Jake Haener, they both were on the same equal playing field. Like if you look at preseason, right? None of them really separated themselves from the other. Spencer Rattler didn't separate himself from Jake Haener, and neither did Jake Haener separate himself from Spencer Rattler. So for somebody to say, well, why would the Saints, jeopardize that? Why didn't they bring Jake Haener in? Because you would have got the same result. Jake Haener wasn't going to win no football games either, and neither was Spencer Rattler. Because if you look at the state of the Saints, no pun intended, I mean, it was a lose-lose situation regardless. It was lose-lose. So for people to, because if the New Orleans, think about this, the New Orleans Saints know both of these quarterbacks better than any of us, right? Better than me, better than you, better than anybody covering the team. They are in the meeting rooms. They are watching these guys' work ethic. They are watching these guys train. They know if these players are good enough to be able to play on Sunday. If the New Orleans Saints really, truly looked at this like, okay, man, one of these guys can end up being the future of this franchise. One of these guys, they're going to give us a chance to win. You would have went with Jake Haener, based on the pecking order. You would have went with Jake Haener because Jake Haener has been the second string the entire time. The third string moniker basically was to put Spencer Rattler further back as you possibly can, but they knew he wasn't ready, so they felt like it was a harmless decision. Because it was harmless because if you put Jake Haener in, same result. Spencer Rattler, same result. But, I mean, some people will look at this as a conspiracy theory, but if you look at it, I mean, I don't think it's controversial or any type of conspiracy behind it. They just know that he was not threatening. And, they can justify that because look at preseason. Both guys were on the same equal playing field. So they're like one and the same right now. So I feel like the same result. Like if the Saints would have came out and said, Jake Haener is going to be our starting quarterback, I still feel like the New Orleans Saints would have lost all of those football games that they played in. Like, regardless of Jake being a starter or Spencer. This was one of those cases where they wanted to get the fans back on board with Derek Carr. Don't make any sense to me, but hey, it is what it is, man. Let me go ahead and read some of your comments, but before I do, I want to acknowledge the fine folks at BetUS. This show is powered by BetUS. Sign up today, get up to 150% on your first deposit, up to 125% on your second and third deposit, up to $2,000. As of right now, the Saints are -7 versus the Carolina Panthers. So you can go to BetUS and place your bets. Make sure that you gamble responsibly. There is information for you if you deal with gambling problems or having gambling issues or know someone that is dealing with a gambling issue. Make sure that you take part in that hotline to get the help that you need. But, you should always be able to play, but play responsibly. All right. We don't want nobody to be out here, making life decisions, and throwing things away, for betting. OK, make sure that you're doing that responsibly. Well, let me go ahead and read some of your comments here. We'll go with Derek Carr needs to be released and DA fired. I don't know about, look, based on what you are dealing with right now, Derek Carr is your best bet. It's just that simple. Like nobody's going to come through that door and be able to save 2024 for the New Orleans Saints. I mean, if you're going to try to make yourself competitive offensively or at least try to win some football games, Derek Carr is your best option. And, I think the biggest issue with Saints fans is they don't see any hope. Like nobody believes in Derek Carr like that. Like maybe a couple of people may believe in Derek Carr, and it's one of those situations where the New Orleans Saints are forcing us on both sides to buy into these guys. Like it's like they're being force fed down our throats for us to buy into them. Like you have no choice. This is what the front office is doing. It's like you have no choice but to buy into Derek Carr. You haven't bought into Derek Carr? We're going to make it as if you don't have a choice to buy into Derek Carr. Oh, you don't believe in Dennis Allen? Oh, I know he lost 5-6 games in a row, but we're not going to let him go anywhere. We're going to force you to buy in to Dennis Allen. That is what it is. It's like I'm wondering, like I am seriously wondering, do the New Orleans Saints organization like fans, like the Saints fans? Like I'm really starting to think that, because to me, it feels like they're fighting against 32 individuals, 31 other teams, and Saints fans. That is what it seems like. It seems like they don't like Saints fans, because to me, looking at how they're moving, looking at how they're operating, it just doesn't seem like they really care that much. They don't care about what you think. They think they're the most smartest people in the room. It's just pathetic at the end of the day when you look at it. Like Mickey Loomis has been a disaster over the last couple of years. And, the worst thing that can possibly happen to an individual, in my opinion, is when you don't have anybody to answer to. Now, if you look at the pecking order of the New Orleans Saints, yes, there is Gayle Benson and Dennis Lauscher that has a position higher than Mickey Loomis. But to be honest, come on. How many of us really honestly feel that not Dennis Allen, but Mickey Loomis is having these type of conversations with Dennis Lauscher and Gayle Benson about the front office practices or scouting or signing players? Like, they're not having these type of conversations. They're not. This guy he's higher up, and he's the main one that knows about football. So who's going to challenge him at the end of the day? And he carries himself like that. And he doesn't have to answer to anybody, so he can basically do whatever the heck he wants to do. And we as fans are at his mercy, and he understands that. But he is not taking into account that Saints fans have had enough. Like, I really feel like he just believes that we need to shut up and just let them do whatever. I know what I'm doing when it comes to Dennis Allen. I know what I'm doing when it comes to Derek Carr. And Saints fans are suffering. And I don't see any suffering. I don't see the suffering ending anytime soon. I don't. That is why I'm telling people, like, for those that are trying to go to these home games, I am telling you, man, don't waste your time. Do not waste your time going to these games, man, because that's the only way that these people are going to understand. And some people are like, man, TJ, man, why you doing that, man? And miss me with this stuff about, I've been hearing like a lot of stuff about people on social media, on Twitter, and the sky is falling, and they doing this stuff tongue in cheek as if we just out here just complaining for the simple fact of complaining. Look at this football team. Look at this football team. I'm so tired of the gaslighting. I'm so tired of the gaslighting where they're making it seem like we don't have a right, or our gripes are not justified based on the product that they're putting on the field. Oh, y'all just complaining. Y'all don't know what y'all talking about. Look, I don't know about the ins and outs of football. I don't know how to run a organization. I will concede to that point. But what I do know is I know what good football look like. I know what good coaching look like. I have seen teams win despite their situations with better coaching, and I've seen teams get themselves out of the funk that they're in by making the right decisions, by bringing in smart individuals to be able to better their circumstances organizationally. But the New Orleans Saints, for some apparent reason, feel like they don't have to do anything and they can just give us anything. And we should just be happy that they're giving it to us. No. That just doesn't make any sense. And also, when you show somebody that you have the capabilities of doing something great, guess what? You have basically, made the bar even higher. And what the New Orleans Saints have done, they have made the bar higher. So people expect success from them because they have shown their fan base that they have the capability of being successful. Now, maybe that's one of the main reasons why they feel like they can carry themselves with this level of arrogance, is because they felt like they didn't won something, and now we're supposed to be forever indebted to them because they won the championship back in 2009. But that was a long time ago. And the way that this organization is going, it seems like it's going to be an even longer time. And it's embarrassing at this point because it's not, to me, it's not even about winning anymore. It's not about winning. It's not about having a better record. It's not about winning the division. It's not about putting the best product on the field. It's about them wanting to prove to the fans that they're right, trying to prove to everybody else they're the smartest organization in the room. They're right about Dennis Allen. They're right about Derek Carr. They're right about the cap situation. They're right about keeping some of these guys that they should have let go and be able to go to other teams where they can try to compete for a championship. They're right about some of these draft picks and all that kind of stuff. They want us to feel like they're right. And when we question them because it seems like they're not, then we're the ones that are selfish. We're the ones that don't know what we're talking about. The sky is falling. Well, it looks like it is. And just because you sit up here and say it sarcastically doesn't mean that it's not happening. Oh, the sky is falling. Yeah, it is. You lost 6 straight games and you got a coach that's not very good. You have a coach that throws his players under the bus. You have a coach that looks like a deer in headlights. You got a coach that doesn't garner or bring any level of enthusiasm to the fan base, to his team. Nobody feels like they're going to win anything with him. And I don't care what they say. I understand what these players got to do. They got to make sure that they're saying the right things, doing the right things, because regardless if they're on the Saints team or not, they want to continue to play in the National Football League. So they're not going to say some of the things that are really, truly on their mind. So for those that sit up here and say, well, TJ, such and such said this, such and such said that, man, you out of line because that's what they said. Like, bruh, give me a freaking break. Like some of you cannot be that doggone gullible. You can't be. You got to understand about PC. You got to understand about PR. You got to understand that these guys can't just come out here and say these things because regardless to them playing for the New Orleans Saints, you got other teams looking at this. And them coming out here just saying whatever they need to say about the team or saying whatever they need to say about the coach could affect them if they get cut by the New Orleans Saints or they need to go somewhere else. They'll take that into consideration. Well, he's a good player, but I can remember back in 2024 when he really blasted Dennis Allen. What happens if our team goes in that direction? Will he blast us too? But some of y'all, man, he said this. Man, you don't know what you talking about. You a hater, man. Are you really a Saints fan? Yes, I am. Yes, I really am. Because if you just read between the lines, I'll give you an example here, okay? I'm going to give you an example. Now, a couple weeks ago, it was against what? The Denver Broncos on Thursday night. No, and also the game before that, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers game, where I said that the Saints quit. I said that them boys quit. I said that there was no way that you can tell me or convince me otherwise that them boys didn't quit. Why? Because those were the same usual suspects on defense that I saw shut down a Tom Brady, neutralize, some of the best quarterbacks in the league. Like C.J. Stroud was rolling last year, had him at 199 yards. This was the defense. These were the usual suspects. Now, all of a sudden, you can't stop Baker Mayfield? and you allowed them to put 51 points on you, and I'm supposed to believe that y'all were really trying, right? And they, the response was, man, ain't nobody quit. Everybody bought in. Watch this right here. I got a clip. This is from Cam Jordan. The first clip that I'm going to play is about the leaders meeting. Everybody heard about the leaders meeting, all the leaders getting together, congregating. What's going on with the team? We're on a 6-game losing streak. What do we have to do in order to change our misfortunes? What do we have to do in order for us to get better? And Cam Jordan talked a little bit about this leader meeting.
We had a dinner where we talked about, what's getting across, what's the mission statement, and the same. It's just we got to find a way to win. I mean, I could tell you everything that happened in the meeting, but that's not going to tell us how we're going to win Sunday. I could tell you, everything that happened in the game plan from Wednesday, Thursday, and will happen tomorrow. That won't tell you how to win. At the end of the day, this is a winning business, and we have to be able to have a good business to win.
So is there anything that you identified in your guys' process that needs to change?
I mean, you're always going to throw out, hey, we can get more sacks on D-line. We can get more pressures. You can be more gap sound because, prior to this last game of them averaging like 2.5 a clip from the running back spot, I think it was like 6.5, 300-400 yards on the ground, and that's embarrassing. So to have a game like Chargers and still not come out with the win, you go to the halftime with the score was what, 5-9,
Yeah.
5 to
5.
right. I was looking from my side, not their side. But yeah, so you look at it like that at halftime, the last 4 or 5 games, you've looked at them like, all right, we're in a position, striking distance or ahead of the game. We have to be able to take the lead or keep the lead. We haven't been able to do so.
All right, so Cam talking about the leadership meeting, and he's right, man. You could talk all day and night, you can talk about the issues, but it doesn't matter if you don't produce on the field. Like, we could do all the talking all day, right? I could talk about I want to be one of the most successful podcasters in the world, but if I don't put no work in, it's not gonna happen, right? If I'm not like out here like really, putting my hand to the plow, it's not gonna happen, right? You got to be able to go out there and you got to be able to do the necessary things in order for you to be successful. But that's not what I was talking about here. This is what I was referring to. Now, I mentioned about me believing that the Saints quit. I don't care what anybody says. Look, you can say, man, this dude don't know what he's talking about. He in the locker room. I ain't gotta be. You quit. Man, you ain't never been out there. You ain't never been on the field. You quit. Them boys quit. And here's my proof. There was a question that was asked to Cam Jordan. You had yourself a leaders meeting. You talked to Dennis Allen as a leadership group about changing the things that are going on with the team, right? But the question was asked about a team meeting. And I want y'all to pay close attention to what Cam Jordan said. I want y'all to pay close attention. Listen to what he says.
Not yet. It's probably happening soon, though. I think that everybody understands exactly where we are. And I feel like when people aren't bought in is when you have like a team meeting.
When you aren't bought in, did y'all hear what he said? Let me play it one more time.
Not yet. It's probably happening soon, though. I think that everybody understands exactly where we are. And I feel like when people aren't bought in is when you have like a team meeting.
Did y'all hear that? Now, a couple weeks ago, keep in mind, they said that they were bought in and people didn't quit, right? The question was asked, do you see a team meeting in the future? And Cam said, I believe there will be. But he also elaborated and said, what? You have team meetings when everybody ain't bought in. That is my whole point right here. So if your team isn't bought in, what's that mean? What does it mean, man? So miss me with telling me that I don't know what I'm talking about. When I look at a team that I have watched my entire life, I have watched this team over the last 4 to 5 years defensively be the calling card of this football team. And I watched them give up 51 points to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 33 points to a struggling Denver Broncos team, and 26 points to an offense that averaged 17 with the Chargers. I keep telling y'all, man. I keep telling y'all. When I'm talking, I'm not just look. I make sure that I go back and I take a look at what the heck is going on before I come here and say these things. They cannot deny that if they didn't quit, if everybody is bought in, who that nation? Why does the face, regardless of how you may think he's playing this season, he is the face of this franchise. Why would Cam Jordan say what he said? He can see a team meeting coming. I don't want to hear anything else about how much fighting and this team ain't quitting. Because there's no way in the world that Cam Jordan would say that he can see a team meeting coming and then go and expound on it and say team meetings are when people do not buy in. And why aren't they buying in? Because they have a coach that is not generating results. Why is Mickey Loomis doing this to his players? And why is Mickey Loomis doing this to us? I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. And you know the sad thing about all of this, folks? You know the sad thing about all this? I really honestly believe that Mickey Loomis will completely change around this roster to make it more Dennis Allen friendly than to get this dude up out of here and bring in a coach that can be a leader of men and be able to put a better product on the field and be able to use what you actually have until you get where you need to be. Oh, you don't like Dennis Allen? Gone. Y'all got to keep in mind now. Think about this. When he had that meeting with those players at the end of the season, it wasn't about Dennis Allen. It was about those players buying in to Dennis Allen. The only people calling you a hater at this point are the car sexuals in disguise. They aren't real Raiders fans nor real Saints fans. To me, it's pretty obvious. It's pretty obvious. If you can't see this, you don't want to see it. You're Mickey Loomis. You're Mickey Loomis. You just don't want to see what's obviously in front of your face. This team can be frustrating, PC at times. I think there's a lot of cap going on at Airline Drive. I believe so. Like I said, you're not just playing for the New Orleans Saints. You're playing for the other 31 teams as well. You got to make sure that you are attractive to other teams at all times because you don't know. You can get traded. You can get released. There are things that happen. You become a free agent. You can sign other places. And by you just playing the game, playing the role, moving and shaking, you can find yourself in a different place. But if you sit up there just, talking, and being too open about the situation, it can cost you money. It can cost you a spot, with a team. I mean, it happens. So when guys like, man, such and such said this, so you don't know what you're talking about. If he said this, then why would he say this? Obviously, because the guy is protecting himself. It's about self-preservation, ladies and gentlemen. I don't understand why people don't understand that. It's about self-preservation. You can't just take everything a person say at face value. He even said if you go into the press conference or the interview a little bit, a little bit longer, I think it's maybe like 6 or 7 minutes. He said, right now, I'm going to say this, but you'll get my thoughts at the what? At the end of the season. At the end, when it's all said and done. Why would he say that? Why would he say that? Why we got to wait? If you got something on your mind, say it right now. Why doesn't he say it then? Come on, man. We got to be smart. 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 TJ speaking facts. Greg says TJ says don't trust this team going into the game. By the way, the injury report and all the other stuff going into the game, I can see this being a L the team doesn't see coming. TJ, I'm telling you now, we need someone to see if they can find a way to get him out of there. I don't know, man. Look, I think the biggest frustration, the most frustrating thing about all this is we don't see an end in sight. It's the worst feeling in the world when you feel like there is no hope. I think that's the most frustrating thing about all this. Like, if we knew, like, man, there's no possible way that they're gonna bring back Dennis Allen. Like, no way. If we knew that, I don't think we would feel this way. Like, okay, man, it's just not our year. Where we get him up out of here at the end of the season, we bring in somebody else. But the language and the verbiage and how oblivious and delusional Mickey Loomis is acting right now, it just frustrates fans. Because it's like, you got to see this. Like, you got to see this. Like, we can't be the only one seeing this. And you talking about looking beyond the results and all that other stuff. Like, man, bro, this is a results-driven business. And right now, it just seems like to me like he's trying to turn Dennis Allen into his John Cena or something. I mean, it's like he's like Vince McMahon and how Vince McMahon just took John Cena, but even John Cena had charisma. Like John Cena wasn't the best wrestler in the world, but he had charisma. He was relatable. He was able to, interact with fans. He was able to get people on his side for the most part. And he became a polarizing figure. You gotta give somebody something to work with. Like, dude, if I'm trying to see, like, I can't even think about it, because even like the worst wrestlers that got built up, like he had some level of charisma. Like even Ultimate Warrior had charisma. I just don't understand it. Like, it's like to me, I don't know if this is about Sean Payton. I don't know if this is about him being able to get the attention, and maybe people start looking at him more so than just looking at Sean. Because if you look at the New Orleans Saints, if you look at the past, nobody really mentions Mickey Loomis. Nobody said Mickey Loomis did a great job bringing in Sean Payton and Drew Brees. No, it's like Sean Payton, Drew Brees changed around the franchise. And I think a part of him, it bothers him. It bothers him not being able to have that credit. Nobody really looking at him or really knowing, how instrumental he was, or he feels like he was instrumental. So this is his moment to take a loser. I'm just going to call it for what it is. I was trying to find a better word, but I can't think of another word other than loser to describe Dennis Allen. You take a loser like Dennis Allen and try to make him a Super Bowl championship caliber coach, right? That is his greatest accomplishment. And then, like I said, on top of that, he probably feel good that he has a passive aggressive coach that he ain't got to worry about stealing his spotlight or taking things away from him. Maybe he wants to be Jerry Jones. I don't know. Maybe he don't want that coach to get that much attention. Maybe that's not what he wants. Maybe he loves the fact that Dennis Allen ain't going to question what he does, and he ain't about to talk to him 10, 15 minutes about rallying towels or cleats or whatever the heck going on with Sean Payton. Maybe he like that kind of stuff. Maybe he does. I don't know, man. Maybe he just likes that. Maybe he likes to have a weak-minded coach that who punts on 4th and 1 in plus territory when you got Taysom Hill, who has been getting positive yards every time he carries the football. Unbelievable, man. I want to acknowledge the 2 donations here. Michael, thank you very much for the 199. Says, we were on a 3-game losing streak with Carr. Thank you very much. Barbara says Loomis will not let Allen go until he makes him right for hiring him in the first place. Yeah, I mean, look, well, it's going to be an empty Superdome in the process. It's gonna be an empty Superdome because ain't nobody gonna be waiting around for it. Like I think that people are underestimating these fans. Like they're saying, man, the fans are going to check out. No. The fans have checked out. They have checked out, ladies and gentlemen. It is 11 o'clock. It is 12 o'clock, and they have left the hotel, ladies and gentlemen. People are out of it. People are done. People are tired of it. Like people want results. And I'm telling you, I'm really starting to feel like the New Orleans Saints organization does not like their fans. Shut up and buy. Hurry up and buy. That's what they feel about the fans. Y'all don't know what y'all talk about. Shut up. And we know what we talking about. Just come and spend your hard-earned money. Saints fans are tired. They're tired. And I think it's going to take. See, here's the thing. This is what they think. This is how far gone they are. They feel like if Derek Carr comes back and they beat the low-hanging fruit, that is the Carolina Panthers. Oh, Saints fans, they're going to buy in. They're going to be ready to come in there to cheer against the Atlanta Falcons, the hated Falcons. I'm telling you right now, it would not surprise me at all if Caesars Superdome sounds like Mercedes-Benz Stadium next week. It would not surprise me at all if they have more Atlanta Falcon fans inside of the Superdome than Saints fans. And that's a sad, sad thing right there. That's what it's going to take. That's what it's going to take. It's going to have to take that type of effort, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to take that type of effort in order for them to be able to get the point. Because when you're dealing with people with money, that's the only thing they understand is when you take money away from them. They don't understand anything else. They're going to continue to say, blame it on all these other things instead of what is painstakingly obvious in their faces. They're going to continue to do that. So I'm lobbying for it. Like, I'm serious. I am lobbying for it because this ain't about injuries. It ain't about injuries. It ain't about injury. Injuries are an excuse. Dennis Allen is incapable of winning games that matter. He is incapable of beating teams that are above 500. He's incapable of consistently generating results that are consistent. Yeah, they just are. If the Saints end up going on a winning streak, it's not sustainable. It's reactionary. Since he has been the head coach, everything that he has done has been reactionary. They never just hit the ground running. Right? It's always like, okay, they play well one week. And then everybody like, oh, okay, man, we on the right track. And then they end up losing. And everybody like, man, get this bum out of here. Get this offensive coordinator out of here. Get this defensive coordinator out of here. Get them all out of here. Then the next week, they hear all that. Now all of a sudden, I'm burning a midnight oil, like looking for every nook and cranny of an advantage I can on the opposition. And then they go out there and looking good again. And then it's like, okay, man, we got something. And then the next week, oh, they off our case now. So all of a sudden they get blew out again. Like, dude is not a good coach. I don't understand it. Like, I don't know if this is a money thing. I don't know. Maybe the New Orleans Saints have committed to him for an extended amount of time. And maybe they feel like they don't want to pay him off the record. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they don't want to pay him the money that he signed from a contract, with him not being on the team. I don't know. They talking about being a good organization. They talking about being a good team and all that kind of stuff. And like, y'all not a winning organization. Y'all not a good organization. Because good organizations know when to cut their losses. They know what to see right in front of them. And, if you're not going to fire your coach, and, usually that coach give you something that you can actually, you got a solid foundation. Like, you think about Sean McVay, you think about Mike Tomlin, you think about these coaches, man, these dudes done won. They done won something. Sean McVay, he won a Super Bowl. Mike Tomlin won a Super Bowl. I always say all the time, people like, man, Sean Payton, he just went 7-9. Mickey Loomis always brings that up. But what he doesn't bring up is when Sean Payton first got to the New Orleans Saints in his very first year, he took the Saints further than they have ever been in their franchise's history. They went to the NFC freaking championship in his first season. So why, when you want to stick with somebody like that gave you those levels of results? Of course you will. What has Dennis Allen given you? Somebody please, like a 9-win season when he's playing against Tyson Bagent and Gardner Minshew and Tommy DeVito and come on, man. What are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing? Like, you ain't winning nothing. That's like me saying I'm undefeated playing against Paxton and his 4-year-old friend. Like, man, look, I'm undefeated out here on his basketball court right now. Of course I should be. I'm playing against 2-3 foot tall individuals. I'm gonna read a few more, and then we can go ahead and get up out of here, folks. Not a long show today. The Saints is screwed for the next 2 to 3 years. I switched TCJ Hotel. Something get done. Well, I guess you mean until something gets done. I'm no longer dealing with them. Well, Greg, look, man, I ain't jumping ship because that's my team. But man, it's like, bro, you got to do something. Good coaches actually say what's wrong with the team and change the outcome. When Dennis Allen is asked a question, all he says is, "Look, guys, we just got to play better football," and then he throws players under the bus. I mean, I ain't never heard this man like just totally and solely take the blame for anything. There's always, we as coaches. Like, no, how about you? I got to get better. You're the leader of the team. But it's always something, I'm doing this. Such and such did this. Such and such did that. Such and such called timeout. Like, man, like I'm telling you, those guys, they probably gonna play, but those guys know that Dennis Allen ain't gonna get them nowhere. When people don't know when to turn, where to turn, they turn to what they know. And what the Saints know is DA. Man, that man make Dennis Allen make the whole organization look like a losing organization because he's a loser. Like I always say, I'm not talking about him as a person. I don't know him as a person, but as a coach, he's a loser. Like I don't get it, man. I don't get it. It's like I don't get it. I don't get it. Like what is so special about this dude that makes him the one that you willing to, lay down on the sword for? Like, what is it about him? Like, I don't understand it. Like, even the good quality that he had in defense, his defense sucks. It's like the team is basically telling you, okay, like he's not it. Like, he ain't it. Like, what more than, like, it's like the team is trying to, it's like, this dude ain't it. And it's like they consistently trying to convince themselves that what they're seeing is not what it is. TJ, I'm telling you, Mickey Loomis is bringing him back next season. And he's going to be bringing him back to an empty Superdome. Remember, TJ, good organizations look beyond the results. That's some BS. Gail needs to make executive decisions. Too many friends in the front office. Too many friends. Too many close relationships. Too close, man. Like, for real, you can love somebody and have respect for them and stuff and treat them like family. But look, you got to be able to make those tough decisions, man. Let's get those likes up. I appreciate that, Cartel. And Greg says, TJ, trust me, he sees it. He doesn't care. Look how long he's been the GM. He's old. He really needs to go. You know what they say? When you get old people are stuck in their ways. I don't even think he's stuck in his ways. I just think that he's arrogant. And I think that he doesn't want to cut it. Like he don't want to cut his losses. Any good executive to tell you, like, man, don't let them see you sweat. Like, bruh, bro, you sweating so much, man. You ain't got a lick of water left in your pores. Like, dude, you dehydrated right now. You sweating so much. Like it's bad, man. It's bad right now. But look, I look at the Saints injury report. I see a couple of guys on the list. Got Kool-Aid McKinstry. I seen he's most recently added to the list, which probably would be another excuse if Kool-Aid can't play. Oh man, all we had was Alontae Taylor, who was our nickel, and he had to slide to the outside, and now we didn't have anybody, so that's the reason why Carolina was able to go up and down the field on us. You know, I mean, if we get our players back, like, dude, I ain't gonna say what I be thinking. Shoot, a lot of these hamstrings can be playable hamstrings. Shoot, like, I ain't about to go out there and risk myself for this loser. Especially I know he ain't gonna do nothing. Like, he ain't about to help us win. And look, we all know what the issue is. First half, the New Orleans Saints, it seemed like they got something going. Second half, they can't make adjustments. That's the coaching issue, right? They ain't responding to him. It's going to have to take something like a loss to Carolina for this organization to realize this. And it's so sad. It's so sad. It is so sad, who that nation, that you have to basically, I mean, in some cases, you got to hope that something that just so painstakingly obvious needs to happen in order for the organization to see it. You literally have to like kind of bet against your own team in order to get changed. Like, that's sad, man. It shouldn't even have to take all that. TJ, if you started a man franchise with the Saints today, who you throwing on the trade block ASAP? If I'm doing that, Chris Olave. I'm trying to think. Chris Olave. I even, like, this may sound crazy, I even throw Carl Granderson up in that thing. Like, I'm serious. Like, I throw like Carl Granderson. Yeah, those probably be my two right there. I mean, I don't have anything against Carl Granderson, but I think that he will probably give you some level of like trade value. You know what I'm saying? Like, he'll give you some good trade value right there. Because he's a young guy. He showed that, he can actually, generate sacks. This season, not so much, but he's capable, and probably in a better on a better team, he could probably be a double-digit sack guy. So yeah, that'll probably be my guy though. I think that the New Orleans Saints, when it comes to Carl Granderson, I think they like him, but I think they paid. He was more like, we ain't about to make the same mistake twice type signing. And what I mean by that is they let Trey Hendrickson out the door when they should have signed him, because they were looking at, this is a contract year, so that's the reason why he got 15 and a half sacks. And they just let him out the door. Like, so they didn't want to do the same. They didn't want to do the same thing with Carl Granderson. Like, they was like, okay, Carl is showing us something. What if, he goes and do the same thing Trey Hendrickson does? Oh man, they're gonna make us really look crazy. So they signed him. So that was one of those situations. TJ, why is the front office disrespecting us? I don't know. Like I said, I just think that it's just about them being right. It ain't even about them feeling like Dennis Allen is the best choice. TJ, ooh, that's nice. For real. I like Olave, but I'll take a Christian Watson over him in a first. Yeah. Look, I like Chris Olave too, but y'all already know how I feel about Chris Olave, and some of y'all said I was crazy. And some of y'all probably still think that I'm crazy. I look at Chris Olave, like I said, he's a top shelf number one, but he isn't like the go-to. Like, if somebody come over here, man, sit at the bar and be like, hey, I need something strong. Like, I need something strong and good. What you got for me? Like, you'll probably look at the top shelf, but you ain't about to pull none of that down. You're gonna like, this is what I'm talking about right here. He's missing something I feel like number ones should have. Like, he's Brandon Cooks. Like that's who he is. He's Brandon Cooks. Like he's fundamentally sound. He'll make plays. He'll wow you with some of the things that he does, but he's too passive. And I honestly feel like I'm really serious about this. I really feel like if the New Orleans Saints was to draft a wide receiver that was like to be their number one next year, let's just say, for example, Travis Hunter comes and the Saints draft him and he wants to play wide receiver, right? I guarantee you, like, it wouldn't bother Chris Olave if Travis Hunter all of a sudden just started getting most of the targets. Like, I feel like you got to be wired differently to be a number one. Like, it can't just be about, oh, you run fast and you run good routes and you catch everything. Like, it's a state of mind. Like, I ain't never seen, like, I'm trying to see. Maybe Marvin Harrison is like the only one I can just really truly think about that ain't really was with the rah-rah. Marcus Colston is another one, but it's like, I don't see it, man. Like, I don't see the elite number one. Like, I see a good wide receiver, but I don't see a lifer. Like, it would not surprise me if Chris Olave isn't on his team in the next 2 to 3 years. It just doesn't. Like, he's good, but I don't think, like, he's not like untradeable good. Like, if the right price come, I would shop him. Like, I think he'll go do good somewhere else, but I think you can get something better. Like, I'm just being honest. I feel like you can get something better for him. I think he's a good, like I said, he's a top shelf receiver. Like, he goes to the right team. He's like, to me, it's like Deontay Johnson. Like Deontay Johnson, y'all see what he did with Carolina, right? You seen what he did with Pittsburgh. Good receiver, but ain't nobody gonna just sit up here and just be like, oh man, who your top five, man? Or Deontay Johnson? No. If the Saints was to get a number one guy with a alpha dog type mentality, I don't think that it would bother Chris Olave at all. I don't think it would. That's my biggest issue with Chris Olave. And when people say, "Oh man, you tripping, man," like, it's a state of mind. Facts, we not pulling Olave off the top shelf. Yeah, he's good. He's good. Like, seriously, Chris Olave is good. Really talented wide receiver. But I've seen better. And I think that you can get better. Like, I don't look at him as that guy that can't be traded. If I was trying to rebuild the team, like, I mean, I don't see it. I don't. Like, he would be okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, even like with Devontae Smith, right? Devontae Smith for the Eagles. Devontae is a number two. A.J. Brown is their number one. But if you start throwing more passes to A.J. Brown, he ticked. If Devontae Smith get more targets than A.J. Brown, he mad. You don't like, but I don't know, man. Olave is good, but not game changing. Like JJ, yeah, he's not a game changer, man. He's not a. I'm serious. In crunch time, like he done made some plays. Like against Atlanta, he made that play. To set up that touchdown, the go ahead touchdown that could have won the game for the Saints. But when Derek Carr is looking for somebody, he's looking for Shaheed more so than he's looking for Chris Olave. And to me, like, that's telling. Like, you rather look for an undrafted guy out of Iowa State than to look for a guy who was the first round pick out of Ohio State. And you know the crazy thing about it is, I know this guy has some troubles, but if the Saints drafted Jameson Williams or Garrett Wilson, I feel like they'll be in a better situation than they are. I don't think we would ever have to question neither one of those guys being the number one. Because both of them have that mind frame. Both of them some dogs, man. And I've said that about Garrett Wilson. Like, Garrett Wilson, and is wired differently. That's beyond like that one hand snag that he had on Thursday night. Like, this guy's always like been that dude. And if you look at Ohio State and you watch them, if you watched that Ohio State, it was Jackson Smith and Jigba. It was Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave was kind of like that third guy that was like that downfield threat. He you know. And even with that, I mean, Jackson Smith and Jigba, he not moving a needle out there in Seattle. They still relying on Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. So to me, I mean, if a call came through and it was appealing, I wouldn't object to the fact of moving Chris Olave. But I want to say thank you all for checking out the State of the Saints podcast, powered by BetUS. Sign up today, get up to 150% on your first deposit, up to 125% on your second and third deposit, up to $2,000. Go to BetUS website or download the app and use the promo code YouTube150. Shouts out to everybody in the chat. Shouts out to everybody at home. I'll be out in Charlotte during the post game after the New Orleans Saints game. The prediction show will be pre-recorded because I'll be on the road around that time. So that should come out probably Saturday or early Sunday morning for you. But I will be live on Bleacher Report after the game talking about the Saints versus Carolina Panthers, keys to victory, what did the Saints do, et cetera, et cetera. But enjoy your weekend. Hope everybody has a good one. Be safe out there. And until next time, all I got to say is, who that?
Thank you for listening to my daddy's podcast. Please subscribe to our channel.
Hey, don't let these tears fool you. It's all dog around this mug. I'm good.